Okay. I love you, 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 love you,
What's going on, guys? Slapby here, and today we are going to be making the Ignited Foxy custom plush. That's right, this is going to be one of the coolest plushies, in my opinion, out of this bunch. For this guy, I really wanted to try something new, and so I did something I've never done before, and I ripped Foxy's head in half, and I made a more withered Foxy looking head, and I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. If you guys would like to create any of the other Ignited characters, for example, Bonnie, Foxy, or Chica, make sure you check out the playlist link in the description or in the pinned comment to those other videos. I also have a review reviewing all 4 of them, and a comparison video between these customs and my Ignited customs from 2018. Also, guys, I have a brand new merch store that's coming very, very soon, so keep an eye out for that. So link for those in the description and the pinned comment, and let's get right into the video. All right, so starting off, we're gonna take his head apart, off rip. Get it? All right, yes, like I said, remove thy head, split it in half. All right, there we go. We got the head cut in half, which is great, and then we got the bottom part here, which is great. Number 2, part 2. Great part 2. Greatest. Now, using the top and bottom part of the head, I was able to trace these 2 black pieces of fabric out, and I will use these and sew them together with the head and bottom part to then stuff and put together. All right, I put the top part of the head together, and it's looking really good so far. I really like the shape of this. It's very accurate to Withered Foxy's actual head shape, which is what the Ignited model is based off of. Now I just have to sew in the bottom part, and then I can put it all together. So for the bottom part, unless you want to do a ghost stitch, this is the faster way. I would recommend just doing this. I just unstuffed the plushie, and that way I was able to turn it inside out, and then once I had turned it inside out, then I can sew the black piece in like that. And just take your time with this, guys. The more tight and small your stitches are, the better it'll look. This is black on red, and so any sort of mistake you make will pop, and it'll be very easy to see that. So just take your time and make sure you do it very neatly and very close together. Once you have done that, it should look something like this, and this looks very accurate to Withered Foxy's lower jaw, which I wasn't actually not expecting. So it looks really freaking good. And then we're just gonna take this top piece here, and we're gonna sew it like that. We're gonna do a ghost stitch and just basically go back and forth until it's on tight. But first, we're going to finish the top of the head. Let's start by cutting out brand new eyes. So our new eyes are going to be all black. To get your black circles, then just cut around the actual plushie eyes. You're just gonna stick your scissors in there, make a hole, and then just cut around. That way you still have the white indent, which is supposed to hold in the stuffing inside of the eye. From there, you can just hot glue in your black circles, and then around it, just to make sure it looks super seamless, I would just take a fine tip black Sharpie and just clean up the edges if there's any white sticking out or anything like that. From there, you just glue in whatever white little eye dots that you want. I just have white leather with Sharpie drawn on it. If you would like to actually embroider it, you can. And as you can see here, I didn't like the placement of one, so I literally just ripped it off and then decided to glue it back in. I did this with Freddy as well a couple times. It's very hard to get them nice and centered to where they don't look derpy, but eventually you'll pull it off. Next up, we have the teeth, which are literally just white felt folded over, glued together, and then cut out to the triangle shape. And go ahead and just glue them in from there. I think there's 8 teeth on the top and then 8 teeth on the bottom. I actually ripped these guys out after and rounded up the tips of the teeth. I just didn't like how sharp they were, and I wanted to fix it. All right, now I'm gluing in the bottom teeth here. Make sure you guys get these in nice and firm. So if you need to hold down the hot glue for like a whole 2 minutes waiting for it to dry, do that. You do not want these to be flying all over the place or even coming off. You want them to be nice and firm so the mouth can open and close with ease. Next up, we're gonna get some wires for the ear, the missing ear. These wires are called nylon braided string. You can buy them on Amazon. However, before we put them into the ear itself, itself, we need to burn the edges. This will prevent them from fraying. Fraying basically means they start to come undone and the edges get all fat and nasty. Burning it will make it so that doesn't happen and they stay nice and clean. Then we are going to glue these together, and then once the glue dries, we will stick them into the ear and sew it shut. Oh man, I'm thirsty. Alright, now that the head is done, we can go ahead and sew it together. It's not funny! And once we have it sewn together, then we can remove the head from the body. That would sound terrifying for a blind person watching this video. Now, once you have sewn the two pieces of the head together and removed the head, you can turn the plushie inside out and start cutting it in half. Yes, we are going to be cutting it in half on this exact line, right under the withering. That way we don't have to sew through the withering. That would be a whole mess that we don't want to do. So we're going to go around the legs here, and everywhere else that we're just cutting, we're going to mark with a Sharpie. Don't worry if you mess up, you can always remove it with rubbing alcohol. But yeah, this is the head fully sewn together, if you needed to see that, and it was removed from the body. That way we can start working on the body pattern and not have the head get in the way. And now that I've separated all the pieces, I have the two leg pieces here. I have the butt piece. We are going to save the legs and this butt piece to reattach later, so we can go ahead and just put this to the side. And then we have the body. This is going to be our pattern that we are going to turn into an endoskeleton. So basically what we're going to do is cut out the arm like this, and then we'll cut out the other arm as well. You're just going to use your de-sewing tool along the side here, that way you can get the best shape possible. Then we'll lay it flat on the gray fabric, and we will cut out each piece and then sew it back together like nothing happened, and then reattach it to the lower half of the body. All right, let's do it. Now, first I am using my Sharpie to cut each arm in half. That way I can get the pattern, because each arm has half of the arm as an endoskeleton, and they are exactly opposite from each other. So I am just tracing those out and cutting those out so I can get the pattern for that and, you know, sew it all back together. Alright, it's the next morning. We have our gray fabric and all of our pieces cut out as shown. We are going to place these pieces down on the gray fabric, trace them out, and then cut that fabric out and re-sew it back together with those pieces of fabric. Alright, now I'm just laying the body pattern down, and I'm pinning it down to my fabric here. That way I can take my Sharpie and outline it. It's always best to take your time when you're outlining the fabric. Just be very, very, very careful and be very light. You can always go over and bolden everything afterwards and, you know, make it look more straight and narrow. Then to get an exact shape, I just folded it over, pinned it down, and then traced that side as well. That way the shape was more accurate. Now, after I was done cutting all the pieces out, I decided to add a stronger, more thick fabric on the inside of the gray fabric this time for the body. That way, unlike Ignited Bonnie, it doesn't get all fat and puffy. Right, I ran out of audio tracks. For the rest of the video, we're listening to Monster Hunter music. So here are the arms. I just finished the hook arm and the other arm. Now we're going to sew it all together. We're going to do the top, and then we are going to sew the legs and the bottom onto the top. Scratch that. I just sewed the top onto the bottom, and now I will sew the arms in. But it looks really good so far. Like, it's very seamless. It looks very nice. It's definitely a lot more firm than Ignited Bonnie. And now I will just sew these arms on like that. Well, I'll have to turn it inside out, but yes. It looks amazing. Yay. And I know you guys are vibing out to this Monster Hunter music right now. I'm putting you guys on. And just like that, it is all sewn together. And now we are just going to stuff the corpse. If you're having a hard time getting the stuffing in some of the legs or arms, then I would recommend using like a Sharpie or a marker. But make sure the plushie is firmly stuffed. You want these things to be able to stand up by themselves, and you definitely want it to be able to support the head. So stuff it as much as you possibly can, and literally until you cannot stuff it anymore. Just fully stuff the crap out of it. All right, and now I got the head sewn on top of the body. I added this piece in the back like I did with Ignited Bonnie. The head needed to lean forwards a little bit more, so I had to add that piece. But it looks really, really good. It's very firm. It holds together very nice. But I am going to fix the legs. I'm going to sew them tighter to the body because he can't really stand up right now. He just falls over. So I'm going to sew them in tighter like that, which is easy. I just use a ghost/ladder stitch and then we'll be good. And then real quick, I added this endoskeleton rib cage using the pattern that I showed off, or not pattern, the template that I showed off in the Ignited Bonnie plush tutorial video. And it looks really good. I like it. You just hot glue it on there. And all right, we're ready to attach the wires now. And for the wires, I'm going to be using red, blue, and black. You can use whatever colors you want. I'm just personally going to be using these. And then obviously before putting them in, burn those edges. You do not want these things to fray. It's going to be very annoying. You're constantly going to have to be cutting them and trimming the length. And just like that, all of the wires are sewn in. You have 2 under the head here. You have the one in the arm, this one in this leg, and then another one in this leg, and then this one on the back of the arm. And then I'm just going to sew up the back of the body. Right, I'm using another ladder stitch to sew up the back of this body and finish up this plush. Now that he is fully stuffed, make sure it is fully stuffed, and then you'll be done. And just like that, your Ignited Foxy plush is complete. And man, does this guy look awesome. I am actually super, super proud. I'm genuinely surprised on how well this guy turned out, and I'm super happy with the head especially. This has to be one of my favorite Five Nights at Freddy's custom plushies that I've ever made. I just think it looks super, super clean. He's nice to hold. It looks so much like Ignited Foxy. Like, it just really, the character is just really shining through. It's such a scary, menacing looking plush, and I'm really, really excited to use it in the upcoming Joy of Creation plush series. So make sure you guys keep your eyes out on that series because I'll be working on that this month, and it's going to be super fun and super scary. If you guys followed along with the tutorial, I would love to see your customs and your DIYs and renditions of my plushie, so give me an @ and I'll check out your posts and give it a like. All right, if you guys want more of this content, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. It really does help me out a lot, so consider it. If you want to subscribe, I would love for you to subscribe. And if you want to follow any other DIY videos for any of the other Ignited plushies, the playlist link for those will be in the description and in the pinned comment. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Later.
All I wanna do is to put my arms around you and watch these moments fall back into place. All I wanna do is to make you stop and love me. How can I be blue?